Very
How you
excited.
guys doing? Yeah, excited.
Not too bad. This is the first
Yeah.
time I'm something like this, so
Okay, perfect.
it's okay.
You're at the right place.
Let me
Because
know.
this is like my third episode, so I just started a podcast where I discuss immigration and any queries. There's a lot of information out there, but I wanted like some kind of like expert to give that advice based on like the laws and everything, right?
I think even the information I have will be more information and less like law, like hard law. I don't think many people want
Yeah,
the hard
yeah.
law.
I don't think they don't want like the section this and blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey guys, welcome to another podcast for mostly motor vlogs. And today I have Sameera with me from Title Law, and we're gonna discuss different ways to come to Canada as an immigrant. And I'll give it to Sameera, and she'll introduce herself, and then we're gonna get into questions.
I'm Sameera from Titan Law. We're based out of Vancouver. We're pretty close to the Stanley Park area. It's really nice here. Immigration is our main area and we specialize in it and we're happy to help.
The first question that I have: what are
Okay.
the easiest and fastest way to come to to move to Canada? For immigrants, like say somebody wants to move from India or wherever, anywhere in the world, right? In general, what would be the fastest way to immigrate to Canada?
So the fastest route to start your immigration process to Canada is often the international student route. I find that a lot of young people, especially coming from India, they're pretty well suited to immigrate through this way because most young Indians have some education, a good amount of English, and are generally motivated to study in higher education.
Nice. I was one in 2008. I came here as a student, and it was pretty straightforward for us to get immigrated. And until now, I think it's pretty straightforward. Like you can get your PR easily compared to a lot of other countries where people usually go and work. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it doesn't mean that if you're not interested in school, there aren't any options for you. There
Okay.
are other routes to immigrate to Canada without education if necessary. Also,
Mhm.
there are routes if you already have your BA from India or somewhere else, if you want to pursue a master's or something like that. There are lots of options available.
Next one I have for you. How do you usually apply for a study visa? Because I got a question like, do you really have to go through an agent, or do you always need a lawyer, or like can you apply on your own for a study visa?
So you're always allowed and able to apply on your own. How well your application goes through, how smoothly it goes through, can be impacted on how well you do. That's why it's always advisable to get someone to help you, such as a lawyer. We always know the best routes to push your application across faster, what the offices are looking for, making sure that we check those boxes that are may not be explicitly stated on your forms. We know exactly their process, and we make sure that it's an easy process for the officer so that there are no hiccups when it comes for them to approve your application.
Awesome. Because what happened with me, a lot of times my application actually came back when I was applying for PR, when I was applying for like it came back 3 times because I was like doing one simple mistake and like there was one form missing or like one like I was filling out like form wrong or something like that. So I highly recommend that students who are coming to Canada, they basically save up a little bit just in case you have to go through a legal route, like to fix your application. So that has been a part of my advice, like to students a lot of times.
For immigration, if there's ever a mistake, their first reaction is not to ask you how to correct it. Their first reaction is always going to be to send it back to you to do it over again. It's always going to delay you,
Hmm.
miss a semester or two just because of simple mistakes like that.
Yeah, I've actually lost like a year and a half just because of that. Because I basically didn't have money to like really hire a lawyer. What are the immigration programs that are available after students graduate from schools? Like some of the very popular ones that are easier to get your PR.
Right. So there are a few options, and depending on your education background, your employment background, whether you have a job offer or not in Canada, it determines which route you take. So if you have strong English, a strong work experience background, you might be well qualified for a economic stream, such as Canadian experience class or foreign skilled workers, something like that. Uh, if you choose the right school and the right program, you're able to apply for a postgraduate work permit that gives you some time to make some money, to gain some Canadian work experience, to make you a stronger candidate for economic classes of immigration. There's also, if you choose to study in more pure sciences, environmental studies, there are special routes for people that have majored in that or specialized in those fields.
One question I get a lot is like, which provinces are probably one of the best or easiest to get your PR in after graduation? Because a lot of students come to Toronto and then they move to say Alberta or like they move to New Brunswick.
Yeah, so usually when people talk about that, they're talking about provincial nomination programs, and
Okay.
different provinces look for different things based on their economic needs. Say if your background is in medical help, physiotherapy, things like that, maybe Alberta is really in need of that, and they might ask if you want to. They might want to nominate you to come to Alberta. If your background is in something else, maybe fisheries or environmental studies, maybe that's something that Nova Scotia is looking for, and they might need your help there, and you might be nominated for that. So it doesn't mean that one province is generally overall better for everyone. It means that you particularly may be suited well for this province and maybe not another one. So it's always good to keep your options open in terms of what province you want to live in. What you might not think of a province that might ordinarily come up, such as Ontario. Maybe you're very well suited for Alberta.
Yeah, I actually did a road trip just to Alberta, BC, and I was like blown away, like because I've been here for almost 13, 14 years, and I never had got a chance to travel out west. And this was the first time I was like, wow, like, there's so much to do out west as compared to what is. I don't know, I haven't traveled east, but like from here all the way to like say Saskatchewan, it's like all flat. So there's not
Yeah.
really much to do. Yeah, so I'm really hoping like people actually explore BC and Alberta and all these provinces that have a lot to offer in terms of jobs, especially for my industry, like hospitality has so much to do over there. So I just want to add a bonus question. That what say because you specialize in law and immigration law in BC. So what are the occupations, if you know back of your mind, that are in demand and there can be a PNP like stream? Because I think a lot of people who are coming to watch my videos are in their late 20s or like early 30s, and they really want to immigrate directly from India or like say from any part of the world and like Dubai, and because they're all working somewhere else, and over there, like say in Dubai, like you don't get a chance to really immigrate. You can live there as much as you want, but you'll never be a
Right.
citizen or a permanent resident of that.
Yeah, so there is a long list of occupations that BC looks for. There's a top 100 list for occupations that BC is always keeping an eye out for. Some of those
Okay.
occupations include accounting, finance, administrative help, a lot of things in the business industry. There are other areas depending on your background, such as forestry and environmentalism. But yeah, generally business is a great area, and it
Mhm.
has a lot of occupations that you can fill.
So one last question I want to ask you, because I think express entry and everything is pretty clear. Like you have to qualify for a point system. I think it's on hold right now for outsiders. I think
Yeah.
they're only doing it for Canadian experience staff right now, but like once it opens up, like I guess people can still start applying, and they already know, like most of them already know that they have to set up a profile online, and once they get a invitation, they can apply, something like that, right?
Yes, that is generally how it works. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I think PNP is very fascinating for somebody who's coming from outside. I don't know if they consider people from outside for PNP, or you have to be in Canada to be considered for PNP.
You can be outside, but that's generally a longer process
Mhm.
because you're not applying through the general stream. You're applying specifically to one province. And depending on how they run their program, it can take a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the requirements for that PNP program? Do you need a job offer, or like how does that work?
So every province has their own specific requirements based on their provincial needs.
Yeah.
So if you have one important part to consider is, do you have ties to that province at all? So if you have family there,
Okay.
if you have a job there, if your occupation is on their list of what they are looking for, you might be a good candidate. What
Okay.
they're essentially, the overall message for PNP programs is, how well are you going to fit into their province?
Like in terms of like say documentation, like what is usually the requirement? Like say, do you actually need a job offer from there to begin with, or?
Not necessarily. Again, it depends on the province and what they look for. As long
Mhm.
as your occupation sort of fits into their province and you have those general requirements that most immigration programs look for, such as education, work experience, English language skills, your overall probably meet the minimum requirements for most provinces.
So is it like the process is very similar to applying for a express entry, or?
It's usually pretty similar.
Okay. Okay,
With
that's all I
maybe like
wanted.
a few extra questions or a few extra requirements just to see if you fit.
So, Sameera, I think just to wrap up, the last question I want to ask, like, say somebody is here already and they have done their education. A lot of kids are actually coming after 18, and somehow they don't manage to, cover enough points for express entry. Do you think PNP can be a better option? PNP can actually make you get your PR faster than express entry.
Yeah, for sure. So there is a great benefit to PNP and qualifying for that. If you don't meet the minimum requirements to be competitive in the ordinary express entry stream, PNP boosts your score drastically to the point where you'll most definitely be selected. Generally, the score selections sit around mid 400s and up. A
Okay.
lot of people, because of their personal background, may not meet those requirements. So getting a PNP nomination, either by being selected by the province or applying through them directly, can give you 600 points. So
Wow.
imagine being at 350, somewhere hovering around there, and then you get 600. So generally what happens is you'll apply for express entry. You'll have some things that are very attractive about your application. Maybe you have the appropriate job background, and a province might see that and say, we'd like to nominate you.
Oh,
So
okay.
you apply for their program, for their nomination program. If you're approved by their program, they'll give you 600 points. Your 600 points gets added to your express entry,
Oh,
and then
wow.
you'll be at 900.
Yeah, you'll be like double qualified for it.
Yeah, they'll let you in twice.
And a lot of them ignore that power of PNP that can really
Yeah,
boost your application. I think I'm pretty much done asking you everything that I
okay.
wanted to ask you. Is there anything you want to add on? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
We have a great offer for your subscribers, a free 30-minute assessment to help them determine their personal education and immigration goals. So if you're interested in that, you feel free to give us an email and we'd be happy to determine your eligibility and create an education plan for you. So send us an email and we're happy to talk to you.
Perfect. Awesome. That was great. Thank you, Sameera. Thank you, Eliza. You can come in the frame now. Thank you. I just want to thank you for setting this up. I really appreciate when companies from Canada really come out to help out like new immigrants, and thank you so much. And I look forward to another interview. We're actually doing another interview soon with Stanley from Titan Law, and we're going to discuss another way, which is a secret way, which is a lot of people don't know about, a way to come to Canada if you have a certain amount of money and if you have that entrepreneurial spirit. You can actually move to Canada through business route, and like we're gonna discuss that in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching another podcast from Moto Vlog, and I'll see you next time.